Hello, students! Today, we will be talking about the tourism and hospitality organizations. Are you ready? Let's begin. At the end of the discussion, you should be able to explain the international tourism organizations, get acquainted with the regional tourist organizations, discuss the role of a national tourism office in the promotion of tourism and hospitality, explain the importance of national professional tourism organizations in the development of tourism and hospitality, and enumerate the different national professional tourism and hospitality organizations in the Philippines and in the United States. Since tourism and hospitality is a diverse industry made up of many different segments, there is a need to interrelate and share information. This has led to the establishment of several public and private organizations of the international, national, regional, state, and local levels. First, let us talk about the international organizations. The United Nations World Tourism Organization, or the UNWTO, is the chief international organization in the field of travel and tourism. It is an intergovernmental technical body which deals with all aspects of tourism. It began its legal existence on January 2, 1975. It was born of the International Union of Official Travel Organization, or the IUOTO, a non-governmental technical body first set up at The Hague, Netherlands, in 1925 to promote tourism for the economic, social, and cultural advancement of all nations. This work was interrupted by the Second World War, and in 1946, the organization was re-established in London. Its headquarters was later transferred to Madrid by the decision of the First General Assembly of IUOTO. The value of work of the IUOTO was recognized in 1963 when the United Nations Conference on International Travel and Tourism recommended that the United Nations should consider the IUOTO as the main instrument for the promotion of tourism. The rapid expansion of travel had created the need for a world body able to deal with tourism problems at the government level, and this led to the transformation of IUOTO into WTO. And the Intergovernmental Organizations of Universal Vocation, providing an adequate framework for government-level consultations, effective cooperation between member states, and formulation of decisions on all questions relating to their policies in the field of tourism. In October 2003, the World Tourism Organization became an established agency of the United Nations, and thus, the name was changed to UNWTO. It is the only organization whose activities cover all sectors of tourism on a worldwide basis. It provides an international forum where tourism officials, whether in the government or not, can discuss problems and exchange ideas. Membership is open to representatives of the private sector. The UNWTO works in cooperation with all international organizations, particularly the United Nations, as well as with commercial and non-commercial bodies involved in tourism. So these are the three classes of members. We have full members, associate members, and affiliate members. First is we have the full members. So full members are the sovereign states. Next is associate members. These are territories or groups of territories not responsible for their external relations, but whose membership is approved by the state, which assumes responsibility for their external relations. And lastly, we have the affiliate members that are international bodies, both governmental and non-governmental, concerned with specialized interests in tourism, as well as commercial and non-commercial bodies and associations whose activities are related to the aims of UNWTO. The UNWTO has created a number of regional commissions such as the Regional Commission for Tourism in Europe, the Regional Travel Commission for the Americas, African Travel Commission, and others. Technical commissions deal with specific problems such as travel barriers and travel development. The UNWTO has the same legal character as the United Nations and its specialized agencies. It has three important legally functioning bodies: the General Assembly, the Executive Council, and the Secretariat, directed by a Secretary General. The General Assembly, which meets once every 2 years, is the supreme organ of the UNWTO. It is composed of representatives from all member states. Each member has the right to vote in the decision-making process. However, the Assembly resolutions are not binding on the member states. They are simply recommendations. The Executive Council, which meets at least twice a year, is composed of members elected by the Assembly for a 4-year term based on a fair and equitable geographical distribution. The function of this council is to implement the decisions of the Assembly and prepare for future sessions. The Secretariat, headed by a Secretary General, carries out the decisions of the General Assembly and the Executive Council. The Secretary General is elected every 4 years by the General Assembly on the recommendation of the Executive Council. The primary aim of the UNWTO is to promote and develop tourism and to contribute to the economic development, international understanding, peace, prosperity, and universal respect for human rights, and fundamental freedoms for all without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion. To pursue this aim, the UNWTO pays particular attention to the interests of developing countries. In order to establish its central role in the field of tourism, the UNWTO establishes and maintains effective collaboration with the United Nations and its specialized agencies. It participates in the activities of the United Nations Development Program. To accomplish these objectives, the UNWTO monitors and identifies trends in world tourism, studies travel demands, market trends, tourist motivation, and alternative approaches to marketing, surveys the environmental effects of travel growth, and makes recommendations for the protection of natural and cultural resources. It also provides services for developing and organizing tourism for countries, serves as a clearinghouse for tourist information, informs members about tourism and hospitality development, conducts vocational training programs, works for the elimination or reduction of governmental measures for international travel and the standardization of requirements. This includes passports, visas, police registration, and frontier formalities, assists and develops technical cooperation projects, and works to the standardized equipment, terms, phraseology, and signs as an aid to easier travel and understanding for foreign visitors. So, the official publications of UNWTO are the International Travel Statistics, Travel Abroad Frontier Formalities, Economic Review of World Tourism, Technical Bulletins, and Manuals. So these are the international organizations that are involved in tourism and hospitality. Aside from UNWTO, we have here the International Civil Aviation Organization, or the ICAO. The ICAO is an organization of around 134 governments established for the purpose of promoting civil aviation on a worldwide scale. It was established at the Chicago Conference of 1944. The 96 articles of the Chicago Convention established the privileges and restrictions of the member countries. So the objectives of the ICAO are to adopt international standards and to recommend practices for regulating air navigation, recommend installation of navigation facilities by member countries, set forth proposals for the reduction of customs and immigration formalities, plan for the safe and orderly growth of international civil aviation throughout the world, encourage the improvement of the art of aircraft design and operation for peaceful purposes, seek the development of airways, airports, and air navigation facilities for international civil aviation, provide for safe, regular, efficient, and economical air transportation, discourage unreasonable competition, ensure that the rights of contracting countries are fully respected and that every member has a fair opportunity to operate international airlines, discourage discrimination between contracting countries, and lastly, to promote the development of all aspects of air transportation. Another organization here is International Air Transport Association, or the IATA. The IATA was established in 1945 in Havana. It was composed of airline operators attached to the national delegations of the ICAO conference in Chicago. At present, membership includes more than 112 scheduled airlines. Their objectives are to promote safe, regular, and economical air transport, faster air commerce, and study problems connected with the industry. IATA serves as the agency through which airlines seek jointly to solve problems that cannot be solved individually. It is involved in standardizing tickets, prices, weight bills, baggage checks, and other documents. This helps make travel uniform throughout the world. Although setting rates is the most significant aspect of the work of IATA, the final responsibility rests with individual governments. In IATA, every member airline holds a single vote and also holds veto power. With the regulation, the status and function of the organization is changing, and only time will tell its final role, which certainly will be less influential than in the past. Next is the World Travel and Tourism Council, or WTTC. It is the only global forum whose members are the top decision makers in the travel and tourism industry. It is the only body representing the private sector in all parts of the industry worldwide. The over 150 members comprise of CEOs, presidents of chairmen of airlines, airports, hotels, cruise lines, travel agencies, tour operators, and travel technology suppliers. WTTC drives on three strategic priorities which it has identified as hindering the successful development of travel and tourism now and in the future, like freedom to travel, policies for growth, and tourism for tomorrow. The WTTC maintains a professional staff in its London office under the leadership of its president and CEO. This organization is headed by a board of executive directors who guide the work of the council in the fulfillment of its mission. The WTTC is a non-profit organization, and it is registered as a company in the United Kingdom, limited by guarantee. So these are the development organizations. We have here the World Bank in the US, the OPEC Fund for International Development in Austria, the ADB or Asian Development Bank in the Philippines, and the Islamic Development Bank in Saudi Arabia. So now let's go to regional organizations. Some countries and regions feel that it is important to bond together to strengthen their respective tourism programs. These regional organizations have become excellent sources of information. So first we have here the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD. It was set up in a convention signed in Paris on December 14, 1960. It provides that the OECD shall promote policies designed to achieve the highest sustainable economic growth and employment and a rising standard of living in member countries, while maintaining financial stability and contributing to the development of the world economy. to contribute to sound economic expansion in economically developing non-member countries, and to contribute to the expansion of world trade on a multilateral non-discriminatory basis in accordance with international obligations. The members of the OECD are Austria, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Tourism is an integral part of its objectives. Recognizing this, the OECD established a tourism committee responsible for coordinating studies, organizing meetings of members' countries, to improve statistical methods of monetary exchange and accounting, and assessing the policies of member countries and their impact to tourism. Another organization that we have here is the PATA, or Pacific Asia Travel Association. It was organized in Hawaii in 1951. It is composed of more than 1,000 organizations, including governments, airs and steamship lines, wholesale and retail travel agencies, ground carriers, hotels, publishers, advertisers, public relation firms, and travel associations with major interests in the Pacific area. Its purpose is to develop, promote, and facilitate travel in the Pacific area, including Pakistan, the United States, and Canada. The PATA's hallmark has been innovation and conservation. PATA was an early leader in recognizing the need for an environmental ethic among those involved in the tourism industry. PATA has initiated the PATA Code for Environmental Tourism. In this code, environmentally responsible tourism means tourism which recognizes the necessity of ensuring a sustainable future. It meets the needs of the tourism industry at present and does not compromise the ability of this and future generations to conserve the environment. PATA's model for an environmental ethic for the travel and tourism industry foreshadows the power of industry coalitions in directing future tourism trends and their relationships with international economic affairs. PATA organizes a wide range of conferences, reports, advertising, training programs, and seminars. So, some of the PATA's publications are Pacific Travel News, Annual Statistical Reports, Travel Market Study, Meetings Pacific, a country-by-country facilities guide. We also have the PATA Trade Manual and Tourism International Research Pacific, which is released quarterly. Next, we have here is the Caribbean Tourism Association. It was founded in 1951 to encourage and assist in the development of tourism throughout the Caribbean area. So, its objectives are to provide an instrument for close collaboration among the various territories and countries concerned, augment and assist local promotional and developmental efforts of the members of the association, and act as liaison between the members, provide a liaison among the member governments, government agencies, active in tourism development and promotion, travel and transportation industries, and organizations active in tourism and regional development. Carry out advertising and publicity measures calculated to focus the attention of the traveling public upon the Caribbean as one of the world's outstanding vacation areas. It is also to encourage the promotion of adequate passenger transportation services to and within the Caribbean area and assist in the establishment of such services. The promotion and development of inter-Caribbean travel is also a particular concern of the association. Another thing is to carry out statistical and research work relating to travel trends and tourism development for the benefit of the members, and negotiate with governments either directly or through the appropriate bodies for an easing of regulations and formalities which tend to be barriers to tourist travel. So to carry out these objectives, the CDA publishes brochures, films, reports, newsletters, and other information about the country's size, language, currency, and so on. Next is the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC. This organization focuses on tourism and which recently achieved official status as an international governmental organization, and it represents 15 countries, namely Australia, Brunei, Canada, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, People's Republic of China, Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, and the United States. The purpose of APEC is to establish coordination of national economies for the benefit of countries in the Asia-Pacific region as a whole. The specific goals are to sustain the growth and development of capital and technology in keeping with the principles of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or the GATT, and to develop and strengthen the open multilateral trading system in the interest of Asia-Pacific and other economies. APEC has 10 working groups, including tourism, telecommunications, and transportation. Other groups include human resource development, marine resources, energy, trade promotion, trade and investment data, investment and technology transfer, and fisheries. APEC has a permanent secretariat located in Singapore. The secretariat is to serve as a coordinating body and the central repository for all APEC documents. The U.S. Travel and Tourism Administration is the first country chair of the Tourism Working Group for APEC. It is working to coordinate activities with the telecommunications and transportation groups. Cooperation with member countries in the areas of tourism, telecommunications, and transportation will bolster U.S. efforts to compete effectively in the Asia-Pacific and world markets. It also will help coordinate goals and efforts toward reducing barriers and to increase reciprocal travel between the Asia-Pacific region and North America. As the multicultural process of negotiations for tourism, telecommunications, and transportation services falter with the stalemate of the GATT Uruguay Board, the importance of interregional tourism and trade agreements and organizations such as APEC becomes apparent. As tourism becomes more and more embedded into the international political and economic framework, intergovernmental organizations and individual governments will continue actively to address political issues affecting tourism. So another one here is we have the Organization of American States, or the OAS. The main objective of the OAS is to strengthen relations between American states by providing advisory services and training programs in many fields, including tourism. Like OECD, tourism is an important component, although its principal motive is to promote economic growth. Thus, OAS conducts a number of travel studies and tourism development programs. So other regional travel associations here include the South American Tourism Organization, or the SATO, the European Travel Commission, or ETC, and the Common Market Travel Association, or CMTA, all of which have been established to coordinate tourist activities among and within member countries. So now let's move on to the national tourism organizations. The government plays an important role in formulating policies to guide tourism development and promotion in line with other national economic and social objectives. The WTO Manila Declaration provides the basic foundations and guidelines that help governments in defining their tourism roles. Governments can play a decisive role in the following areas. We have here planning. It attracts foreign investment and funds infrastructure development. They're also involved in employment and training, which determines manpower needs, develops tourism training programs, and lastly, coordinating public and private sectors, determines roles in mixed economics. In order to achieve national development, the government should clearly delineate its policy with regard to tourism and other development options. So, what is the National Tourism Office? Countries that are visited by tourists have an official organization that regulates and encourages tourist activities. Its importance varies from one country to another. In some countries, tourism organizations are at the full ministry or cabinet level, while in others, it may be on a sub-cabinet level or a council or information post. In some countries, the tourist office is not officially a part of the regular government structure. The National Tourism Organization may be highly structured, centralized, and controlled, such as that in Russia and many of the socialist countries, or it may be a laissez-faire or a decentralized system, such as those of the United States and the United Kingdom. The National Tourism Office is responsible for the promotion of tourism in a particular country and for the overall development of the tourist industry. Example, the United States Travel and Tourism Administration and the Department of Tourism in the Philippines. The U.S. Travel and Tourism Administration is the National Tourism Office in the United States. It is under the umbrella of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and its director is an Undersecretary of Commerce for Tourism. Its main objective is to promote and develop tourism to and within the United States and to promote a better and friendlier attitude toward the United States. So here in the Philippines, the Department of Tourism is the primary government agency charged with the responsibility to encourage, promote, and develop tourism as a major socioeconomic activity, to generate foreign currency and employment, to spread the benefits of tourism to a wider segment of the population, and to assure the safe, convenient, enjoyable stay and travel of foreign and local tourists in the country. The Department of Tourism is headed by the Secretary of Tourism, who is assisted by 3 undersecretaries and 1 assistant secretary. For in the present time, our current secretary for Department of Tourism is we have Miss Bernadette Romulo Puya. So you can search her in Google because she is famous now. The Assistant Secretary for International Services and Legislative Liaison is responsible for the legal service, administrative service, as well as the financial and management service. The Undersecretary of Planning, Product Development, and Coordination is responsible for the Office of Tourism Development Planning, Office of Product Research and Development, as well as the Office of Tourism Coordination. The Undersecretary for Tourism Service is responsible for the Office of Tourism Standards, National Capital Region, and all regional offices. The Undersecretary for Tourism Promotions is responsible for the Bureau of Domestic Promotions, Bureau of International Tourism Promotions, as well as the Office of Tourism Information. Directly under the Secretary of Tourism are the National Parks Development Committee, the Tourism Promotions Board, the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, the Intramuros Administration, and the Nayong Filipino Foundation. So, the 15 regional offices of the DOT are responsible for domestic tourism promotion, tourism marketing accreditation, tourism assistance, public relations and coordination with local government units, and tourism stakeholders in the region. The regional offices are also tasked to undertake planning and product development projects in support of the government's policy of decentralization under the Local Government Code. The DOT regional offices are also actively involved in the formulation of regional tourism master plans, or RTMP, that will serve as the framework in the development of travel and tourism in the Philippines. So the regional offices are located in the following areas like Baguio City, Cordillera Region, San Fernando La Union with a sub-office in Lawag City, North Luzon Region, Tuguegarao in Cagayan Valley Region, Angeles City, Pampanga in Central Luzon Region, Calamba City, Laguna in Calabarzon Region, Legazpi City, Bicol Region, Iloilo City with satellite offices in Bacolod City and Boracay Island, Western Visayas Region in Cebu City with a satellite office in Bohol in Central Visayas Region, Tacloban City, Leyte, Eastern Visayas Region, Zamboanga City with a satellite office in Dapitan City, Zamboanga Peninsula Region, Cagayan de Oro City, Misamis Oriental, which is for Northern Mindanao Region, Davao City, Southern Mindanao Region, Coronadal City, South Cotabato for South Central Mindanao Region, and Butuan City for Caraga Region. The offices of Mimaropa Region and the National Capital Region are housed in the DOT building at Senator Hill, Puyat Avenue, Makati City. There are 5 attached agencies that help the DOT in the performance of its functions. So these are the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority or TIAZA, Tourism Promotions Board or TPB, Intramuros Administration or IA, National Parks Development Committee or NPDC, and the Nayong Pilipino Foundation or the NPF. So first is the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority or TIAZA. TIAZA, formerly known as PTA or Philippine Tourism Authority, is a corporate body tasked to designate, regulate, and supervise the tourism enterprise zones or TEZs, as well as develop, manage, and supervise tourism infrastructure projects in the country, with the primary objective of encouraging investments in TEZs. So, TEZ is an area specifically defined or organized as a tourism area, zone, or spot under any special or general law, decree, or presidential issuance. The TIAZA is the principal agency responsible for the timely collection of travel taxes, in which 50% shall accrue to it while 40% goes to the Commission on Higher Education or CHED, provided that priority is given to tourism-related educational programs and courses, and the remaining 10% share is for the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. With respect to tourism zones, areas, or spots not organized into TEZs, the DOT, through appropriate arrangements, may transfer control over the same or portions thereof to another agency or office of the government or to a local government unit upon DOT approval. The department shall exercise supervisory powers over such agency, office, or LGU in accordance with the terms of the transfer or the development plan of the zone, area, or spot. No TEZ shall be designated without a development plan duly approved by the TIAZA and without the approval by resolution of the LGU concerned. LGUs which comprise, overlap, embrace, or include a TEZ in their territorial jurisdictions shall retain their basic autonomy and identify in accordance with the local government code. Tourism enterprises registered with the TIAZA shall further be ordered to pay back taxes in the amount equivalent to the difference between the taxes that they should have paid had they not availed of the incentives under Republic Act No. 9593 or the Tourism Act of 2009, and the actual amount of taxes being paid by them under the same incentive scheme. The back taxes to be collected shall be computed up to 3 years directly preceding the date of promulgation of the decision or order finding that the tourism enterprise violated the terms of its accreditation. The proceeds of these back taxes shall be distributed as follows: 1/3 to the national government, 1/3 to the LGUs concerned, to be shared by them equally in case of more than one such LGU, and 1/3 to the TIEZA. The TIEZA is governed by a board of directors or TIEZA board composed of the Tourism Department Secretary, the TIEZA Chief Operating Officer, the Tourism Promotions Board Chief Operating Officer, the Department of Public Works and Highway Secretary, the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources Secretary, the Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary, and the 5 representative directors that will be recommended by the Tourism Congress. As the infrastructure arm of the OT, TIEZA has been managing and operating several establishments. Among those operational are the Banawe Hotel and Youth Hostel, Hilaga Northern Philippines, Club Intramuros Golf Course, Rizal Lights and Sounds Museum, Balikasag Island Dive Resort, Gardens of Malasag Mountain Resort, and Zamboanga Golf Course and Beach Park. So the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, which shall have an authorized capital of 250 million pesos, fully subscribed by the national government, shall be under the supervision of the Secretary and the attached to the DOT for purpose of program and policy coordination. The TIEZA shall be exempted from the payment of corporate income tax. So what is the mandate of TIEZA? The TIEZA shall be a body corporate which shall designate, regulate, and supervise the TEZs established under RA 9593, as well as develop, manage, and supervise tourism infrastructure projects in the country. It shall supervise and regulate the cultural, economic, and environmentally sustainable development of TEZs toward the primary objective of encouraging investments therein. It shall ensure strict compliance of the TEZ operator with the approved development plan. The TIEZA shall have the power to impose penalties for failure or refusal of the tourism enterprises to comply with the approved development plan, which shall also be considered a violation of the terms of accreditation. In addition to its mandate to regulate and supervise TEZs, the TIEZA shall likewise be deemed a government infrastructure corporation under the Administrative Code of 1987 or Executive Order number 292. So, what are the general powers and functions of the TIEZA board? The TIEZA board shall have the general powers of a corporation as provided under the Corporation Code. Furthermore, it shall also have these powers. So here, first, we have organized the TIEZA in a manner most efficient and economical for the conduct of its business and the implementation of its mandate. Next is to develop policies, plans, and programs in coordination with the department for the development and operation of TEZs and adapt rules and regulations necessary for the implementation of the provisions of this law. Enter into, make, perform, and carry out contracts of every class, kind, and description which are necessary or incidental to the realization of its purposes with any person, firm, or corporation, private or public, with foreign government entities. Contract loans, indebtedness, and credit, issue commercial papers and bonds in any local or convertible foreign currency from international financial institutions, foreign government entities, and local or foreign private commercial banks or similar institutions under such terms and conditions prescribed by law, rules, and regulations. It is also their power to execute any deed of guarantee, mortgage, pledge, trust, or assignment of any property for the purpose of financing the programs and projects deemed vital for the early attainment of its goals and objectives, subject to the provisions of the Constitution. Also to construct, own or lease, operate, and maintain infrastructure facilities or enter into joint ventures and grant franchises for and supervise the operation of public utilities within TEZs in coordination with LGUs and agencies concerned, as well as undertake or authorize the undertaking of reclamation projects within TEZs. It is also their power to preserve, restore, or reconstruct all national cultural treasures and shrines located within the TEZs in coordination with the National Museum and other concerned agencies, receive donations, grants, requests, and assistance of all kinds from local and foreign governments and private sectors and utilize the same. It is also their power to exercise eminent domain and police power, including but not limited to the power to recommend to the department the removal of structures which may be considered nuisances per se or which impede or impair the enjoyment of historical, cultural, and natural endowments. Just like the case of what happened in Luneta Park. Do you remember that one? That there is this condominium unit no condominium building that was built behind the Luneta Park. So there was actually a petition against that they should remove it, but I think the petition lost, however, because the condominium building was still there and they acquired a permit to do so. So that's why, the petition failed. Next is the coordinate with LGUs and other government agencies for the provision of basic services, utilities, and infrastructure required by the TEZs. Review and approve proposals for the designation of TEZs based on the criteria provided herein, and approve, facilitate, and assist in the organization of TEZ operators. Regulate and supervise the operations of TEZ operators, review and ensure compliance with the development plans, and establish the implement other policies, plans, and programs for the development and operation of TEZs. Register, monitor, and regulate enterprises seeking to invest and operate within a TEZ, and approve and grant incentives to such registered enterprises as provided under RA 9593. So next agency that we have here is the Tourism Promotions Board, or TPB. So TPB is formerly known as Philippine Convention and Visitors Corporation, or PCVC. It is a corporate body created under RA 9593, which shall have an authorized capital of 250 million pesos, fully subscribed by the national government. It is under the supervision of the DOT Secretary and attached to the VOT for purposes of program and policy coordination. The TPB shall formulate and implement an integrated domestic and international promotions and marketing program for the DOT. The TPB shall be responsible for marketing and promoting the Philippines domestically and internationally as a major global tourism destination, highlighting the uniqueness and assisting the development of its tourism products and services with the end in view of increasing tourist arrivals and tourism investment. Specifically, it shall market the Philippines as a major convention destination in Asia. To this end, it shall take charge of attracting, promoting, facilitating, and servicing large-scale events, international fairs and conventions, congresses, sports competitions, expositions, and the like. It shall likewise ensure the regular advertisement abroad of the country's major tourism destinations and other tourism products, not limited to tourism enterprise zones. It may also provide incentives to travel agencies abroad which are able to draw tourists and tourism investment to the country. The TPB shall be governed and its powers exercised by a board of directors, or the tourism board, composed of the department secretary as chairperson, the Tourism Promotions Board Chief Operating Officer as vice chairperson, the TIEZA Chief Operating Officer, the DFA Secretary and the DTI Secretary, DICT Secretary and the Secretary of DOTR, formerly the Department of Transportation and Communications, a representative director from Accommodation Enterprises, a representative director from Travel and Tour Services, a representative director from Land, Air, and Sea Tourist Transport Services, a representative director from Conventions and Exhibition Services and Suppliers, and a representative director from other tourism enterprises. The representative director shall be appointed for a 3-year term by the President upon the recommendation of the Tourism Congress from a list of at least 3 nominees per group. They must be Filipinos with recognized competence in business management, marketing, finance, tourism, and other related fields. The TPP shall have all the general powers of a corporation provided under the Corporation Code, and the powers and functions are to develop and implement a plan to market the Philippines as a premier tourist destination, direct and coordinate the resources and efforts of the government and the private sector in the tourism and allied fields for the full realization of the tourism plans and programs, develop and promote the Philippines as a center for international meetings, incentives, conventions, exhibitions, sports, medical tourism, and other special events, engage in the business of tourism and perform acts in consonance therewith, such as, but not limited to, attending conventions and other events abroad in representation of the country, encouraging sales promotions and advertising, and implementing programs and projects with the objective of promoting the country and enticing tourists to visit its tourism destinations and to enjoy its tourism products. It is also their power to contract loans, indebtedness, and credit, and issue commercial papers and bonds in any local or convertible foreign currency from international financial institutions, foreign government entities, and local or foreign private commercial banks or similar institutions under terms and conditions prescribed by law, rules, and regulations. Execute any deed of guarantee, mortgage, pledge, trust, or assignment of any property for the purpose of financing the programs and projects deemed vital for the early attainment of its goals and objectives, subject to the provisions of the Constitution. It is also their power to receive donations, grants, bequests, and assistance of all kinds from local and foreign governments and private sectors and utilize the same. As well as extend loans through government banks and financial institutions, provide grants and other forms of financial assistance for manpower training, heritage preservation, infrastructure development, and other programs of the department, and lastly, to obtain the services of local and foreign consultants and enter into contracts locally and abroad in the performance of its functions. Another attached agency here is the Intramuros Administration, or IA, which was established in 1979 by virtue of Presidential Decree number 1616 signed by President Ferdinand Marcos on April 10, 1979. It is vested with the powers and functions by virtue of PD number 1616 as amended by PD number 1748. So, these are the powers of the IA to formulate, coordinate, and execute policies on the implementation of all programs, projects, and activities of the government relating to Intramuros, enter into contracts with any private person or entity or any government agency, either domestic or foreign, for the effective discharge of its functions and responsibilities, acquire through sale, expropriation, or other means, and hold real and personal property as it may deem necessary or convenient in the successful prosecution of its work, lease, mortgage, sell, or dispose of such personal and real property. Receive, take, and hold by request, donation, gift, purchase, or lease from foreign or domestic sources any asset, grant, or property, real or personal, subject to such limitations as are provided in existing laws and regulations. Initiate, plan, undertake, and supervise the restoration, upkeep, and maintenance of the Intramuros walls, including the ravelins, moat, sunken garden, and public places like plazas, streets, and other government property situated within Intramuros. Prepare, adopt, revise, and enforce such rules and regulations, implementing guidelines and standards necessary for the effective regulation of the land use and development activities in Intramuros. Expropriate property within the bounds of Intramuros, sponsor, conduct, or support festivals and cultural activities in Intramuros, charge and collect admission fees to the restored gates and other attractions operated by the administration. Give grants, contributions, and donations for the restoration, repair, and maintenance of historic structures outside of Intramuros, and collect reasonable amounts to be charged as filing fees, inspection fees, permit fees, service fees necessary for the effective enforcement of its laws and regulatory measures. So what is the mandate of IA according to RA 9593? So IA is responsible for the orderly restoration and development of Intramuros as a monument to the Hispanic period of our history. As such, it shall ensure that the general appearance of Intramuros shall conform to the Philippine Spanish architecture of the 16th to the 19th century. So its vision is an iconic tourism site that honors the Philippines' glorious past, a thriving and vibrant future-proof livable city built on a foundation of shared values and a genuine Filipino sense of community. Its mission is to implement and realize a restoration and redevelopment plan for the present and future development, management, and promotion of Intramuros as a national heritage site by forging strategic partnerships that ensure its orderly, timely, inclusive, and sustainable development. So, what is the organization of the administration? The administration shall be directed by a board of administrators consisting of the Minister of Human Settlements as chairman, and as members the Mayor of the City of Manila, the Executive Director of the National Historical Institute, the administrator, and such persons as the President may designate. Its executive order shall be an administrator who shall have the same qualifications, privileges, and rank of a deputy minister. The administration shall be organized and staffed in accordance with applicable budget and compensation laws, provided that it shall be authorized to engage the services of architectural, historical, tourism, and other consultants necessary for its work. Provided also further that the President may designate heads for agencies of the national government to serve on the board in an ex officio capacity. Provided finally that the members of the board shall receive per dimes for each board meeting actually attended by them, at rates and subject to such maximum monthly amount as may be approved under PD number 985. So the Board of Administrators shall be responsible for the policies and activities of the administration. The administrator shall report to the board and shall be delegated such authority as the board may decide. There shall be an architectural committee and such other committees as may be created by the Board of Administrators to advise the administration on the architectural or other policy. So, transfer of administration, properties, and appropriations. The buildings and lands owned by the national government, administered by the Bureaus of Building and Real Property Management, and by other offices and agencies of the national government and the City of Manila, including government-owned or controlled corporations which are located in Intramuros, are hereby transferred to the administration, provided that for properties of government corporations and of the City of Manila, arrangements for compensation shall be mutually agreed upon between the administration and the agencies concerned and recommended to the President for final approval. The administration of Fort Santiago, the Sunken Garden, the municipal golf links, including concessions within the Sunken Garden, and elsewhere on public land and other public properties in Intramuros are hereby transferred to the administration, provided that the Manila City may continue operating the municipal golf links. The administration may operate museums, art galleries, theaters, and other cultural or educational facilities that are incidental and suitable to the attainment of its objectives, provided that the administration may operate such facilities either directly or through existing institutions such as the National Museum, the Cultural Center of the Philippines, the National Library, and other agencies of the government. The administration may directly or in association with public or private enterprises construct, lease, sell, and otherwise operate shopping and commercial facilities in Intramuros. It may likewise operate guided tours and offer related tourism services. The administration may require the owners of existing structures to modify the design of existing buildings, provided that subject to the approval of the Minister of Human Settlements and to availability of funds. The administration may utilize its funds to undertake the modification of existing buildings, whether publicly or privately owned, so as to modify their external appearance to comply with approved designs, and provided further that no changes in the external appearance of existing buildings and structures in Intramuros, including ruins, shall be made without the approval of the administration. The budgetary allocation for the maintenance of national and local roads within Intramuros area shall be released to the administration, which shall undertake such road maintenance directly or by management with the Department of Public Works and Highways. So the City of Manila or with private parties capable of doing the work subject to applicable government rules and regulations. The administration shall control the nature or extent and timing of the access of private and public vehicles into Intramuros. For this purpose, the approval of public transportation routes going through Intramuros shall be subject to the concurrence of the administration. Construction and other civil works may be undertaken directly by the administration or with the assistance of the Department of Public Works and Highways, DOTR, or the Department of Transportation, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, the Manila City, or by private contractors subject to applicable government rules and regulations. The administration, in consultation with the Department of Finance, may extend discounts on real property assessments situated within Intramuros, so as to encourage the private sector to engage in the construction of duly approved facilities, provided that such incentives shall apply only to new construction and to improvements of existing buildings that conform to the administration's architectural specifications. The administration, in consultation with the DTI or the DOT, as the case may be, may extend investment incentives for industries and enterprises established in Intramuros, not exceeding those granted for pioneer enterprises, provided that the industries operating in Intramuros shall be limited to those that are consistent with its historical atmosphere and shall not be the source of air, noise, water, or other types of pollution. The appropriations pertaining to Intramuros, which are in the budget of the National Historical Institute and the National Parks Development Committee, are hereby transferred to the administration. The Minister of Human Settlements may fund additional operating and capital expenditures out of the appropriations provided for the Ministry of Human Settlements in Batas Pambansa bilang 1. The Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council, or HUDCC, was created by then-President Corazon C. Aquino by virtue of Executive Order No. 90, dated December 17, 1986. The EO, which also abolished the Ministry of Human Settlements, placed HUDCC under the direct supervision of the Office of the President to serve as the highest policy-making body for housing and coordinate the activities of the key housing agencies to ensure the accomplishment of the government shelter program. On May 25, 1989 and May 28, 2000, Executive Order No. 357 and Executive Order No. 20 were issued, respectively, to strengthen HUDCC into department-level organization by conferring it with the power to exercise overall administrative supervision over the key housing agencies, set and ensure the attainment of targets and objectives for the housing sector, review the organization, programs, and projects of the key housing agencies, and decentralize its operations and enlist the assistance of the Department of Budget and Management in securing continuing funding support to the National Shelter Program. In 1992, the Urban Development and Housing Act, or RA 9, number 7279, mandated the HUDCC to direct the formulation of a national urban development and housing framework in coordination with the local government units and other public and private sector agencies. Design of a system for the registration qualified socialized housing beneficiaries and inventory of land suitable for socialized housing, and provide, through its attached housing agencies, the LGUs with support for the preparation of the town and land use plans, data for forward planning and advancement program, and assistance in obtaining funds and other resources for housing and urban development. From 1986 to present, there are several executive and legislative issuances, including the 3 laws mentioned above, that provide or authorize HUDCC with specific functions and or require it to undertake certain tasks related to housing and urban development. These legal and legislative fiats assign duties and responsibilities to HUDCC that are related to its original mandate as the lead agency in housing and urban development. So the administration is authorized to establish a revolving fund into which shall accrue revenues from operating and commercial transactions undertaken by the administration. Such revenues shall be automatically appropriated to cover expenses incurred in such commercial operations, subject to pertinent budget compensation, accounting and audit law and regulations. The administration is authorized to borrow funds from domestic or foreign sources subject to applicable law and regulations and the approval of the Minister of Finance. The administration is authorized to accept and receive grants or contributions from private parties to the obligated and disbursed in such manner as the authority may, in the exercise of sound discretion, deem best to accelerate the restoration or enhance the maintenance of historical facilities in Intramuros and contribute to their development and preservation. The administration is likewise authorized to give grants and contributions to private parties for the restoration or maintenance of historical facilities in Intramuros. All grants and donations to the Intramuros administration shall be exempt from donors and other taxes and shall be fully deductible over and above what is ordinarily allowable under the National Internal Revenue Code for purposes of computing liabilities of the donor on income tax, estate tax, or gift or donor's tax on other donations, provided that the value of donations in kind shall be determined in consultation with the Commissioner or Internal Revenue. So next is the National Parks Development Committee, or NPDC. The NPDC is a government agency that is tasked to oversee national parks in the Philippines. It was established primarily for the purpose of developing and maintaining national parks, specifically the Rizal Park or Luneta, Paco Park, the Pook ni Mariang Makiling, and Burnham Park. The NPDC was established on January 14, 1963 by Executive Order Number 30 for the development of the Quezon Memorial Circle, Luneta, and other national parks. In 1964, the committee was then designated as the National Parks Development Committee. It was attached to the Department of Tourism in 1987 through Executive Order Number 120. The NPDC functions to undertake development of new parks, upgrade and maintain park facilities, develop and operate cultural and educational programs, and to facilitate private sector participation in appropriate aspects of parks development and maintenance. Its mission is to provide fully developed and well-maintained parks for the Filipinos' wholesome recreation and socio-cultural education, which will contribute toward the enrichment of the national identity and heritage in partnership with concerned communities and non-governmental organizations. So the areas of responsibility of the NPDC are Rizal Park, Paco Park, Pook Olivia de Salamanca, Mabini Shrine, Pook ni Maria Makiling Park, and the Burnham Park. For arts and culture, cinema in the open air is a seasonal public service of the NPDC in the Rizal Park Open Air Auditorium in Ermita, Manila. Concert at the park is a weekly free concert staged every Sunday in the Rizal Park Open Air Auditorium in Ermita, Manila from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This event has won the Catholic Mass Media Hall of Fame Award for Best Cultural Program. Labs Kita Sabado is another weekly free event staged every Saturday in the Rizal Park Open Air Auditorium in Ermita, Manila from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Modern performances such as ballet, pop concerts, theater performances, acrobatics, and acoustic nights are featured in Labs Kita Sabado. And the Paco Park Presents is a musical presentation every Friday at 6 p.m. in Paco Park, Manila. The musical is aired nationwide in front of a live audience at PTV Channel 4. Next here is we have the Nayong Filipino Foundation, or the NPF. It was attached to the DOT in 1991 by virtue of Executive Order number 497. Pasay Park operations ceased in 2002, while Nayong Filipino sa Clark Expo, established at the Clark Expo site in 2006, made NPF its manager and operator. Nayong Filipino is the only tourist complex showcasing the many primary attractions and scenic places in the Philippines. It is a major administrative and operational concern of the agency to keep its facilities and surroundings in the best condition. Rehabilitation, restoration, and construction programs are necessary to ensure a fine collection of miniature Philippine attractions which reflect Filipino history and culture. The Nayong Filipino Foundation aims to promote, encourage, and initiate research and development projects and activities in social sciences, humanities, social and amelioration, and allied fields. The purpose and objectives of the Nayong Filipino are to promote, encourage, espouse, and/or initiate research and development projects on social sciences and humanities and related fields, to formulate a comprehensive social welfare program for the upliftment, improvement, and amelioration of the social and economic conditions of the unfortunate, destitute members of our society, with the end in view of availing maximum utilization of their potentialities in the solution of the country's problems. To encourage and facilitate the active participation of the domestic and foreign sectors in furnishing financial, technical, and other forms of assistance for the Foundation's social welfare programs. To promote and encourage the dissemination of the results of its researches and studies in social sciences and humanities, and to encourage their practical application to problems of the masses. Also to establish, set up, and/or maintain scholarships or professional chairs in order to foster, promote, and encourage the study and improvement of fundamental or pure research, applied research, developmental work, and/or economic evaluation in the fields of social sciences or humanities. To establish parks and recreation centers for the promotion of tourism on this country, and to construct, improve, enlarge, or equip, or to cause the building, improvement, enlarging, or equipping of buildings, libraries, laboratories, workshops, or other educational accessories required for scientific research, and to establish, maintain, or aid others to establish or maintain institutions, doing research of all kinds in the fields of social sciences and humanities. The foundation shall be a non-stock, non-profit public corporation, organized, established, and operated in the public interest, and no portion of its funds and income shall inure to the benefit of any of its members. The policy-making body of the Nayong Pilipino shall be the Board of Trustees composed of a chairman and 8 members to be appointed by the President for a term of 1 year. The chairman and members shall be persons genuinely interested in the promotion of the purposes and objectives of the foundation. The Board of Trustees shall ordain and promulgate rules and regulations to govern the organization, meeting of the board, its officers, their powers and duties, as well as other officers, their duties and matters pertinent to the management and operation of the Nayong Pilipino. In a code of bylaws which shall be passed by an affirmative vote of the majority of all members. The board shall appoint an executive secretary who shall take charge of administering the affairs of the foundation and shall act as secretary to the board. The Nayong Pilipino shall have the power to sue and be sued, to contract and be contracted with, to own and hold such real and personal property as shall be necessary for corporate purposes, to receive real and personal property by gift, device, or bequest, to adopt a seal and alter the same, to adopt bylaws, rules, and regulations not inconsistent with the provisions of this decree, to exercise all the general powers of a corporation established under the corporation law, and to do all such acts and things as may be necessary to carry into effect the provision of this decree. The ownership and title to the property now actually occupied by the Nayong Pilipino Foundation is hereby transferred in fee simple to the Nayong Pilipino subject to the following conditions. The title to the land conveyed by this decree shall not be transferred by the Nayong Pilipino to another person or entity without previous authorization by the President of the Philippines. The Nayong Pilipino is hereby authorized to mortgage the property referred to above for the purpose of carrying out its objectives and purposes only, and in case the Nayong Pilipino is dissolved or ceases for any reason to undertake its objectives or ceases to need the land for any reason, said land shall ipso facto revert to the national government without compensation. The Nayong Pilipino shall be exempt from all forms of taxation, whatever, and from duties and all other imports on any equipment, articles, or goods that it may import from abroad which may be reasonably necessary for use in or as part of its operation. The Nayong Pilipino shall at the end of every calendar year submit to the President of the Philippines and Congress an annual report containing the activities of the corporation and showing clearly its exact financial condition, the sources of all receipts, and the purposes of all disbursements. Next is the Duty-Free Philippines Corporation, or DFPC. The DFPC shall be a body corporate to operate the duty and tax-free merchandising system in the Philippines, to augment the service facilities for tourists, and to generate foreign exchange and revenue for the government as established by the department under Executive Number 46. In the performance of its functions, the DFPC shall have all the general powers of a corporation established under the Corporation Code in furtherance of its charter. The DFPC shall have the exclusive authority to operate or franchise out stores and shops that would sell, among others, duty and tax-free merchandise, goods, and articles in international airports and seaports, and in TEZs and ports of entry throughout the country in a manner that is competitive with international standards, effectively showcases Philippine culture, craftsmanship, and industry, and efficiently and effectively generates foreign exchange. Republic Act Number 6768 as amended by RA Number 9174, an act instituting a Balikbayan program, in recognition of their contribution to the economy of the country through the foreign exchange inflow and revenues that they generate, the Balikbayan law provides Balikbayans with special tax-free shopping privileges in government-owned and controlled operated duty-free shops. The law, which is under the administration of the DOT, includes a kabuhayan shopping privilege, allowing tax-exempt purchase of livelihood tools and the opportunity of availing the necessary training to enable the balikbayans to become economically self-reliant members of the society upon their return to the country. The program shall likewise showcase competitive and outstanding Filipino-made products. Next is the Philippine Retirement Authority or PRA. It is a government-owned and controlled corporation created by virtue of Executive Order number 1037, signed by President Ferdinand Marcos on July 4, 1985. Its control and supervision were transferred to the Board of Investment or BOI under the Department of Trade and Industry from the Office of the President on August 31, 2001. On May 12, 2009, RA number 9593, also known as the Tourism Act of 2009, became an attached agency of the DOT and was placed under the supervision of the Secretary of the State Department. Its mandate is to attract foreign nationals and former Filipino citizens to retire, invest, and reside in the Philippines with a vision to make our country a leading and significant destination for the world's retirees, seniors, and elderly. PRA recommends to the Bureau of Immigration the issuance of Special Resident Retirees Visa, a multiple entry visa with limited tax-free privileges to all qualified foreigners and former Filipinos who wish to make the Philippines their second home. So, our retirement motto is, it's more fun in the Philippines. The Philippine Retirement Authority has joined the Department of Tourism's campaign, It's More Fun in the Philippines, and is incorporating the newly adopted copy in its marketing materials. With the country's appealing natural wonders, its low cost of living, attractive investment opportunities, exciting leisure facilities, including excellent medical facilities and educational institutions, retirees may find the ideal retirement destination in the Philippines. If we add the caring and resilient nature of Filipinos, retirement migrants will find it more fun to retire in our country. Prior to the branding launch, the PRA conducted a guessing game activity among its retiree members wherein they were encouraged to take a shot at the Philippine tourism brand. Although none of the participants' entries were close to It's More Fun in the Philippines, they presented appealing slogans based on their personal experiences and observations. These were uploaded in the PRA website, so you can just search it on Google. Retirement migrants have expressed their ease in adopting the Filipino culture, in which the Western culture is merged with the traditional. Definitely, they find excitement and fun in most places they have visited all over the country. Cumulatively, there are over 25,000 enrollees to the retirement program. On 2011, there were 2,234 enrollees, in which the top nationalities are from the People's Republic of China, Korea, Republic of China or Taiwan, Japan, and the United States. The PRA aims to actively promote the Special Resident Retirees Visa to foreign nationals and former Filipinos who would want to permanently reside in the country. As a general rule, anyone regardless of nationality may invest in the Philippines. However, foreign nationals enrolled in the retirement program are under the authority's existing implementing investment guidelines, permitted after a holding period of 30 days from the issuance of the SRR visa to convert their time deposits into active investments in any or a combination of the following investment areas to wit. These are purchase or acquisition of a condo unit anywhere in the Philippines, long-term lease of house and lot for a period not shorter than 20 years, and purchase of golf or country club shares. Investment by PRA retirees outside the PRA program using other funds separate and distinct from the qualifying dollar time deposit may be allowed depending on the business structures of their choice. For example, sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or branch office subject to compliance with existing laws and the Foreign Investment Acts. Foreign ownership of up to 100% is allowed for export enterprises. Export enterprises are defined as those businesses wherein at least 60% of output is exported. For domestic market enterprises, foreign ownership is allowed up to 100%, except for specific areas listed under the Foreign Investments Negative List. So under the negative list, investment is limited up to 40%. 27,000 foreign retirees from 107 countries have chosen and lived in the Philippines through the Special Resident Retirees Visa of the Philippine Retirement Authority. The SRRV allows all its foreign retiree members to retire and live in the Philippines for as long as they want. An SRRV holder may come in and out of the country as often as he desires and enjoy privileges such as exemption from securing the ACR-1I card or the Alien Certificate of Registration immigration card from the Bureau of Immigration, exemption from paying the travel tax at Philippine airports, and exemption from getting a study permit or student's visa for their dependent children who intend to pursue education in the Philippines. The PRA retiree members may also use health cards issued abroad in Philippine hospitals or clinics accredited by selected health card companies. They may also avail of the one-time tax-free importation of household goods or personal effects and many more. A principal retiree must be at least 35 years old to enjoy the above benefits that only SRRV holders are privileged to avail of. Through the PRA, foreign retirees who want to make the Philippines their international retirement destination can now choose from 4 SRRV options. These are, number 1, SRRV Smile for active or healthy principal retirees, in which 35 years old and above who would just like to maintain their visa deposit of $20,000 in any of the PRA designated banks. Second is the SRRV Classic for active or healthy principal retirees who would opt to use their visa deposit of $10,000 or $20,000 for 50 years old and above, or the $50,000 for 35 to 49 years old to purchase condominium units or use for long-term lease of house and lot. The third one is the SRRV Courtesy for former Filipinos aged 35 years old and above and foreign nationals 50 years old and above who have served in the Philippines as diplomats, ambassadors, officers, or staff of international organizations. The visa deposit is $1,500. The fourth one is SRRV Human Touch. This is for ailing principal retirees aged 35 and above who are shown to have medical or clinical needs and services. Under this option, the retiree only needs to have a visa deposit of $10,000 and a monthly pension of at least $1,500 and a health insurance policy. Another agency attached to the DOT is the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving, or PCSSD. Republic Act No. 7160, also known as the Local Government Code of 1991, endeavored that local government units be self-reliant and that in addition to the powers they currently discharge, these units are mandated to discharge the functions and responsibilities of national agencies and offices devolved to them particularly those relating to tourism facilities and other tourist attractions, acquisition of equipment, regulation and supervision of business concessions, and security services for facilities. In pursuit of its mission, as set forth in LOI number 745, the Commission is mandated to perform the functions to develop programs and projects geared toward the development of the country as a premier diving destination in Asia, to formulate rules and regulations, safety standards, and operating procedures to implement the development of sports scuba diving, to issue license and regulate dive establishments and dive professionals to ensure safety of domestic and international diving tourism, to promote, market, and develop diving-related infrastructures to ensure growth of diving tourism, to undertake studies, researches, and surveys for possible incentives to the private sector for the development of scuba diving tourism within the framework of related laws, and to develop and initiate programs on marine conservation, particularly those areas with high touristic values. So now let's move on to the professional tourism and hospitality organizations. Several professional tourism organizations have been established to bridge the gap between government and industry. By working together, they promote a very favorable tourism climate. Some of these organizations are the United States Travel Data Center, or the USTDC. It is an independent, nonprofit research and educational organization which aims to improve the quality and range of statistical data describing travel and tourism. It is financed by grants and membership fees. The members come from institutions, corporations, the private sector, as well as government agencies. The data center is located in Washington, D.C. It has published several studies which provide information pertaining to the travel industry in the United States. Examples of these are a national travel survey, impact of travel on state economies, and travel outlook forum. Another one is the Travel Industry Association of America, or the TIAA. It is a non-profit association of companies and government organizations which was formed to promote travel to and within the United States. It is based in Washington, D.C., and it has a membership of more than 1,000 organizations, firms, and other agencies. Members from the private sector include domestic and international businesses and corporations, accommodations, tour operators, travel agents, and transportation. Members from the public sector include city, state, and federal government agencies such as visitor centers, convention organizations, state government travel offices, and area and regional tourism organizations. The organization obtains its funds from its members. Its main objective is to develop and implement programs that benefit the travel supplier and consumer. It concentrates its activities on those programs that represent a national industry need but which no single component in the tourism industry could be expected to carry out. The programs are classified into different categories like marketing facilitation that promotes and facilitates travel to and within the United States through special promotions and travel marts, tourism research for works with the United States Travel and Tourism Administration, or the USTTA, and the U.S. Travel Data Center in order to promote an understanding of the economic and social well-being of the nation as a result of travel. And the Governmental Affairs, which is active in legislation issues in an effort to represent the views of the travel industry. It assists the government in the development of tourism programs, policies, and legislations. It has also the educational programs that provide communication network for travel-related information for educational purposes, and lastly, the travel promotion that encourages and promotes reciprocal travel between nations and acts as a watchdog on programs that would restrict travel. Another one is the Travel and Tourism Research Association, or the TTRA, which is concerned with travel research, specifically in improving the quality of effectiveness of research in the travel industry. Through a series of conferences, reports, and a journal, the association aims to maintain current communications in travel research developments and methodology occurring in the field. It is concerned with the teaching of tourism and has established communication procedures to support education. Next is the American Society of Travel Agents, or ASTA. It is one of the largest travel associations in the United States. It includes travel agencies and tour operators from the United States and Canada. Allied memberships are available to other sectors of the industry, such as airline, railroads, bus lines, car rental firms, hotels, as well as government and educational institutions. ASTA is subdivided into 11 areas or chapters. Among its publications are ASTA Travel News, ASTA Notes, Convention Daily Newspapers, ASTA Roster, and ASTA Travel Correspondence Course. Another one is Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association, or the UFTAA. The objectives of the Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association are to act as a negotiating body for the various branches of the tourism and travel industries on behalf of travel agents, to give professional and technical advice and assistance to travel agencies on the world economy and tourism, and to improve the prestige and public recognition of travel agents. We also have the World Association for Professional Training in Tourism, or the WAPTT. The WAT in tourism is concerned with vocational training. Another one here is the Council on Hotel, Restaurant, and Institutional Education, or the CHRIE. It was founded in 1946 as a nonprofit association for schools, colleges, and universities offering programs in hotel and restaurant management, food service management, and culinary arts. In recent years, its focus has expanded to include the enhancement of professionalism at all levels of the hospitality and tourism industry, such as food, lodging, recreation, and travel services. CHRIE works to foster the international advancement of teaching, training, learning, research, and practice in the field of hospitality and tourism. It provides access to information, research, shared resources, talented people, and progressive ideas. Its office is in Washington, D.C. It is governed by an elected board of directors and a professional staff. At present, there are 19 CHRIE chapters throughout the world. Each one is led by an elected president, vice president, and secretary or treasurer. It has more than 2,300 members throughout North America and in more than 50 countries around the world. There are 3 categories of membership. We have individual member, institutional member, and corporate or organizational member. The annual membership dues vary according to category, division, and geographic location. Some of its publications are the Guide to College Programs in Hospitality and Tourism, the Hospitality and Tourism Educator, and Hospitality Research Journal. Another one is Association of Travel Marketing Executives, or ATME. The ATME is a nonprofit research and educational organization of individual travel marketing executives. The scope of the ATME is international and covers all travel industry segments. Its office is in Washington, D.C. It aims to assist travel marketing executives toward greater personal achievement, success, and satisfaction. Benefits derived from the membership in the ATME are passed along to its affiliate firms, consumers, and to the whole travel industry. The members of ATME are professionals in an executive or managerial capacity in work that is primarily but not exclusively related to marketing a travel product or service. A person involved in creating, developing, or promoting travel or travel products qualifies to be a member. Affiliation with ATME is based solely on the personal qualifications of each member. Its activities are based on the collection and dissemination of marketing information and the advancement of professional expertise through personal exchange and association with other professionals in travel marketing. ATME activities include monthly newsletters to and for its members entitled Travel and Tourism Executives Letters, special reports on travel marketing, encouragement and assistance in developing and promoting regional group chapters and meetings throughout the world, seminars and workshops of timely interest to ATME affiliates, annual registry of registered travel marketing professionals and associates, and possible elections of fellows status. ATME affiliate classifications include registered travel marketing professional. It is a career travel marketing executive. He or she is entitled to all rights and privileges of association and affiliation. Another one is travel marketing associate, which includes students, suppliers, and others wishing to participate in ATME programs but do not meet the requirements for registered professionals and may become an associate of ATME. And the third one is fellow, which is qualified individuals who have been a registered travel marketing professional for at least 1 year. After the 1-year anniversary date, the registered professional may apply for fellow status. A fellow requires a more detailed personal and professional history and at least 5 years full-time experience as a travel marketing professional. Next is the Society of Travel and Tourism Educators, or the SOTTE. It was founded in 1980 and its original members were only 15. At present, there are 300 members representing all levels of travel and tourism educators. The members come from the US, Canada, as well as the international education community. Its office is in New York, USA. Its aim is to increase professional knowledge through interaction with all levels of travel and tourism educators, to develop a network of peers with whom the members can learn and grow, to share ideas, strategies, and research with other members, to promote a closer working relationship between educators and the industry, to organize meetings and conferences in which travel and tourism educators and industry executives will discuss the education and training needs of the industry, to publish a newsletter with the latest information on educational issues, opportunities, and resources, and to promote the image and understanding of travel and tourism education within the larger arenas of the industry and the academic world. The members are classified into different categories. First is active members. So these are educators who are actively engaged in teaching courses or doing research in travel and tourism in certificate or degree granting institutions. Another one is associate members. These are non-educators who are actively engaged in the travel and tourism industry as officers or employees of organizations whose principal function is the promotion and development of travel and tourism and who are interested in enhancing the quality of travel and tourism education. The third one is corporate members. These are organizations or institutions which are directly involved in the education of travel and tourism students or which employ graduates of such programs. Next is the student members. So these are students currently enrolled in certificate or degree granting programs in travel and tourism. And the allied members. So these are organizations other than an educational institution which have an interest in supporting and enhancing travel and tourism education. The society's members have diverse qualifications. Their educational and industry backgrounds include such areas as geography, hospitality studies, leisure studies, market research, meetings and conventions, parks and recreation, sociology of tourism, tour operations, tourism marketing, tourism planning, tourism research, transportation, and travel agency training. So now let's move on to the tourism and hospitality organizations in the Philippines. The first that we have here is the Philippine Travel Agencies Association, or the PTAA. The PTAA was established in 1979 and was born out of a union of the National Associations of the Outbound Travel Agencies and Inbound Tour Operators. It aims to foster unity in the travel industry and to promote the welfare of its members and the traveling public. The objectives of the PTAA are to unite the members in a common purpose, working in a close bond of cooperation, fellowship, and assistance in furthering and protecting the interests of its members, to strive toward the attainment of the highest standards of services and facilities for travelers and tourists, to uphold the dignity and the ethics of the travel and tour business, and to strive toward its professionalism, to work for the general welfare of the members by acting as the true representatives of the travel and tour agency sector of the industry, to cultivate friendly relations between the Philippines and other countries and among their people, to act as an effective liaison with government agencies and other trade organizations involved in local, regional, or international tourism and travel for the benefit of its members, and to encourage, support, and help develop Philippine tourism. The setup of the whole organization includes the general membership, the board of trustees, in-service groups and committees, and the secretariat. The general membership is composed of regular, associate, allied, and affiliate members admitted to the membership by the board of trustees. The BOT serves as the policy-making body of the organization and is composed of 15 members duly elected by the general membership in an annual meeting held between the third week of October to the second week of November. The immediate past president sits in the board as an ex officio member but without the right to vote. The board meets regularly every first Wednesday of the month. The Board of Trustees has 24 working committees. These groups and committees assist in the formulation and implementation of policies, plans, and programs. The Secretariat is the administrative, information, and service center of the whole association. For the membership, the member associations fall into 4 categories. We have regular members, so these are firms duly licensed by the appropriate government agency as travel and tour agencies and admitted to membership by the Board of Trustees. Another membership is the associate members. These are branches of regular members duly licensed by the appropriate government agency as travel and tour agency branch offices and admitted to membership by the Board of Trustees. Next is the allied members. So these are airlines, convention organizers, handicraft stores, hotels, inns, nightclubs, resorts, restaurants, shipping companies, tourist transport operators, and other entities related to or engaged in the tourism industry, whether directly or indirectly, duly licensed by the DOT and or other government agencies and admitted to membership by the Board of Trustees. And lastly, we have the affiliate members. So these are regional or provincial associations of travel and tour agencies duly organized as an association and registered with the appropriate government agency and admitted to membership by the Board of Trustees. So we have here different membership responsibilities. The first one is active participation and involvement in the activities of the association, specifically in the concerns of the communities. Next is regular attendance at the general membership and business meetings. Third is adherence and commitment to the PTAA principles of professional conduct and code of ethics. Fourth is prompt payment of membership dues and special assessment of and other fees. For the affiliations, the PTAA is the Philippine representative to ASEAN Tourism Association, Federation of ASEAN Travel Association, and Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association. Locally, it represents the travel and tour agency sector in Tourism Council of the Philippines, Air Safety Foundation, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Hotel and Tourism Institute of the Philippines, and Tourism Industry Board Federation Incorporated. Next is the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines, or HRAP. The HRAP was founded on September 12, 1952 by executives from the leading hotels and restaurants in Manila. Its main objective is to upgrade the management skills and personal services to maintain proper standards at home as well as keep abreast with progressive trends abroad. To realize its objectives, countless seminars, workshops, and conventions were held through the years both on regional and national levels. It also conducted in-service training in top hotels and restaurants in the Philippines, as well as food and table service demonstrations. Observation teams went to many parts of the country to assess the situation of establishments in the area and determine the areas where training was needed most. It has joined AAHRA and the International Hotel Association in order to broaden its base from national to international scope. Likewise, representatives went on government-sponsored tourism missions abroad to tap the tourism potentials on other countries. To advertise the presence of suitable accommodations and restaurants in the Philippines, HRAP, with the assistance of DOT, came out with the Hospitality and Travel Directory. So the directory was successfully disseminated to travel agencies, airlines, and embassies abroad. So its membership includes hotel sector, so it comprises hotels, resorts, apartels, pension houses, and transport establishments with accommodations and food service facilities. Also, restaurant sector, which comprises restaurants, clubs, pubs, bistros, music lounges, catering, and quick service establishments. For the allied sector, it comprises established suppliers of products, equipment, and services for hotels, restaurants, and food service establishments. Associate division comprises schools offering hotel and restaurant management or administration or tourism-oriented degree courses. For affiliate sector, comprises other organizations of professionals working in the hotel and restaurant industry. For provincial chapters, these are established in provinces, chartered cities outside of Metro Manila duly recognized, accredited, and governed by the bylaws of the HRAP. We also have honorary members. So these are persons recognized for their exceptional and outstanding contributions to the development of hospitality and tourism activities. And the life members, so these are the persons recognized for having rendered outstanding service to the association either as officer, director, or member. Apart from its membership recruitment drive, the HRAP continuously drums up activities and projects intended to promote camaraderie, fellowship, and closeness among members, such as tour and golf programs. The HRAP publishes newsletters which are distributed to members as well as to officers of other tourism-oriented organizations to update them on the ongoing and forthgoing activities and projects of the association. Circulars on industry concerns are likewise disseminated to all members. Through the linkage of HRAP with the TPB, members are able to participate in international sales blitzes to promote not only their own properties abroad, but also the country's attractive tourist destinations. HRAP undertakes projects geared toward vocational training and manpower development along skills required by the hospitality industry. It serves as liaison with institutions, schools, and organizations engaged in manpower education and training. It established a training school named as Hotel and Restaurant Institute of the Philippines, or HTIP, which has graduated over 100 young hoteliers and restaurateurs. The HRAP organized a very prestigious culinary event, which is the annual Chefs on Parade competitions and exhibitions in which chefs, food and beverage personnel, and kitchen artists compete with their colleagues, gain excellent exposure and training, and receive recognition for their creative talents and skills in the culinary arts. It also works in partnership with the following international and regional and national organizations to enhance the profile and competitiveness of the national hotel and restaurant industry. So for international organizations, they are in partnership with BATA, ASEAN Tourism Associations, ASEAN Hotel and Restaurant Association, International Hotel and Restaurant Association, the Asia Foundation, and Japan External Trade Organization. For the national government organizations, they are in partnership with DOT, DOLE, Department of Finance, DOH, DTI, Department of Education, DILG, and the PNP, and the Senate and Congress Committees on Tourism. For the non-government professional organizations, they are in partnership with Employers Confederation of the Philippines, Filipino Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, Hotel and Restaurant Tripartite Consultative Board, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tourism Industry Board Foundation Incorporated, Tourism Council of the Philippines, Philippine Business for the Environment, Society of Association Executives. Next is, we have here the Union of Filipino Tourism Educators. So we are actually a member of UFTE. The University of Mindanao is officially member of the UFTE, as well as your tourism educators. So the UFTE, formerly known as Tourism Educators of Schools, Colleges, and Universities, or TESCO, is a bona fide organization of tourism educators founded by Dr. Zenaida Lansangan Cruz, who is the author of our book, and duly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission on January 9, 1993. So UFTE has the following objectives: to unite all colleges, universities, and schools with tourism programs with the end in view of training and developing their students for a productive and meaningful career in tourism. To promote a closer working relationship between educators and industry, to put out a journal which will publish research, studies, articles, and up-to-date information with regard to the tourism industry, to encourage members to undertake research on the latest aspects of tourism, to produce information, data, and new findings in order to bolster the country's tourism industry, to sponsor lectures, seminars, workshops, conferences, and symposia on the various fields of tourism, and to work with colleagues to advance the image and understanding of travel and tourism education within the larger arenas of the industry and the academic world. So the association has three categories of members, namely regular, those engaged in the teaching of tourism and other related courses; associate, those involved in tourism research, studies, and training; and institutional, so institutions, organizations which are interested in promoting the goals of the association. So UM is an institutional member of UFTE, and we teachers are regular members of UFTE. So the members are entitled to the following: participation in UFTE meetings, seminars, symposia, training programs, and conferences; participation in educational programs, scholarship grants, and the like; information exchange through newsletters and journals; involvement in research; awards and recognition for outstanding work in the field of tourism; affiliations with other tourism organizations; participation in tourism inter-school activities, contests, and the like; and involvement in community and environmental awareness through educational tours, cruise fora, and the like. So actually, UFTE also has an organization for the students, which is called as the UFTS, or Union of Filipino Tourism Students. So the members of the UFTS are students of those schools that are institutional members of UFTE. So another organization is the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Educators of the Philippines, or COREP. So actually, UM is also a member of COREP, as well as your HMTM professors. So COREP is a bona fide organization of hotel and restaurant educators of the Philippines, founded by Dr. Ignacio Pablo and duly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. It has the following objectives. First, to generate a wide acquaintance and closer cooperation among those interested in hotel and restaurant education, to provide educational opportunities for hotel and restaurant management educators who are interested chiefly in particular areas within the general field of HRM to pursue their specialties, to provide a forum for the dissemination and exchange of information about such topics as course content and structure, teaching methods, materials, services, facilities and techniques, continuing adult education, and other such topics as may be of material interest to the members, to provide opportunities for HRM educators to publish scholarly papers based upon their conceptual as well as experimental findings, to act as liaison between the schools and universities which the council members represent and the agencies in the hospitality industry, to foster better understanding, communication, and cooperation among educational institutions concerned with HRM and the hospitality industry, and to support a culture of hospitality that embodies the value system, ethics, and morals of a hospitality educator. So, COREP has different memberships. So these are classified as regular, those who are full-time educators or administrators granting certificates, baccalaureate or graduate degree in HRM, practitioners in the hospitality industry who have taught HRM students for at least a year and is currently on a full-time or part-time basis affiliated with a college or university offering HRM. For the associate membership, those who are practitioners in the hospitality industry, representatives of the DepEd, DOT, HRIB, TIB, and other regulated agencies, entrepreneurs in the hotel and restaurant industry. For the sustaining, those institutions, associations, or corporations that are actually involved in the hotel and restaurant industry and advancement of hotel and restaurant education in the Philippines. It has also honorary for those who are invited by the Council to become such because of exceptional and outstanding contributions to the development and growth of the hospitality or tourism industries and educational institutions, and the life membership for those who have rendered 10 years of outstanding service to the association, either as an officer or a member. So, teachers are actually regular members of COREP, and the school is an institutional member of COREP. So every year, teachers attend the convention. So last January 2020, I was able to attend the first international convention that was held in Bali, Indonesia. So next here is we have the members' rights and privileges. So we can be able to participate in the annual COREP conventions, participate in COREP meetings, attendance in seminars, symposia, training programs, and conferences, participation in educational programs and scholarship grants, information exchange through the COREP newsletter and other publications, and involvement in research. Another organization is the Association of Administrators in Hospitality, Hotel and Restaurant Management, Educational Institutions Incorporated, or ARME. So we are also a member of ARME, and UM is also a member of it. So ARME is founded by Dr. Gloria Bacon C. It is envisioned to be an outstanding organization serving as a vehicle for all schools offering hotel and restaurant management, tourism, food technology, home economics, nutrition, and other related programs in the quest for leadership, excellence among academicians, and practitioners toward quality education for all stakeholders. It aims to establish linkages among different schools nationwide for the advancement of quality and relevant education, initiate programs and activities that are necessary for the total development of administrators, faculty members, practitioners, and students, prepare faculty members and prospective practitioners for leadership skills and competencies, assist government agencies, particularly the Commission on Higher Education, DOT, and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA, in the implementation of programs and guidelines affecting the hospitality education and industry, and lastly, to develop camaraderie among administrators, faculty members, and industry practitioners for a healthy learning sharing relationship. So the members are classified as regular. Those who are administrators, including practicum coordinators, only regular members can run for board member positions. Associates, so those who are HRM and tourism faculty members and industry practitioners. Next is institutional, those schools, colleges, and universities offering HRM and tourism programs. So UM is an institutional member of RMA, and we teachers are regular members. Another organization here, we have the Women in Travel Philippine Chapter. So the Women in Travel Philippine Chapter was organized in 1980. It is an affiliate member of the International Federation of Women in Travel Organization, or IFWTO, which has a worldwide membership of 5,000. The members are the top female executives of airlines, hotels, travel agencies, tour operators, and other companies involved in the travel business. Another association here is we have the Philippine Association of Conventions, Exhibitions, Organizations, and Suppliers Incorporated, or the PASEOS. The PASEOS is the voice of the convention and exhibition industry. It plays a significant role in the economic development of the country through conventions, trade fairs, and special events. Its objectives are to bring more events into the country by working more closely with professional associations, as well as encouraging members to create their own events, to upgrade the skills of those involved in the industry through educational seminars, to professionalize the association's ranks and achieve a better working relationship through open communication and networking, and to represent the industry's concerns and venues, suppliers, and concerned government agencies. The members of PASEOS are professional convention or exhibition organizers, venues, booth contractors, convention hotels, and exhibition freight forwarders. It supports and endorses the 10-point agenda presented by the Secretary of the DOT covering the following areas. First, improving the country's image, more focused and effective marketing, more discriminate allocation of budget, progressive liberalization of aviation policies, and lastly, upgrading and preservation of age-old destinations like the Banawi Race Terraces and Intramuros. Another organization here is the Network of Independent Travel Agencies, or NITAS. So NITAS is the official association of non-IATA travel agencies, which was established in 1986. Its objectives are to unify the various non-IATA travel agents and promote a harmonious relationship among its members, to assist and lead its members toward being more professional in delivering travel and tour-related services, to contribute in the promotion of local and international travel and tourism, to unify members toward speedy and fair solutions to problems unique to non-IATA agents, and to have one solid voice in the tourism industry. So, the ongoing programs of NITAS are continuous educational and developmental training programs for management and frontliners, organizing consortiums for various products to create more competitive pricing for members, promoting local distinctions, supporting various programs with other government agencies such as DOT, DFA, BID, and DILG, creating a rich pool of trainers in tourism-related subjects or programs, joining forces with other travel associations to be able to focus energies and resources toward a strengthened travel and tourism industry, and lastly, creating globally competitive projects in order to contribute to the financial stability of members and to the economic growth of the economy. Another organization here is the Movement of Incentive Travel Executives, or MITE. The MITE was organized on August 29 to 30, 1991 by the Tourism Promotions Board, formerly the PCVC, in cooperation with the New York-based Society of Incentive Travel Executives, or SITE. Its objectives are to use incentive travel as a business tool in the application of MITE's collective resources, to develop educational programs and other business activities that offer value to its members, and to sell the Philippines as a quality incentive destination. So, its membership its members represent the forerunners of incentive travel, such as hotels, tour and transport operators, resorts, airlines, marketing and creative specialists, and selected media personalities. Its members can deliver incentive travel programs with creativity, imagination, and professionalism. So, what do we mean by incentive travel? So, when we say incentive travel, it is defined by the Society of Incentive Travel Executives, or SITE, as a modern management tool used to accomplish uncommon business goals by awarding participants an extraordinary travel experience upon their attainment of their share of uncommon goals. So incentive can be used to accomplish several business objectives such as increased sales, increased production, higher quality level, improved customer service, and increased safety. Practically, any business objective that can be measured can be accomplished through the use of incentives. The choice of reward will vary based on the objectives. So why incentive travel? There has been a growing recognition in recent years of the advantages of using incentive travel vis-a-vis other traditional rewards such as cash, merchandise, lifestyle, and performance enhancers such as plaques, rings, trophies, and the likes. Other reasons include travel incentive awards are permanent symbols of success. These are also highly promotable. You may also overcome the comfort level of psychology. An incentive program breaks through this effort barrier. Incentive travel has memory value. Cash is quickly spent and forgotten. Thus, it has no identity. And lastly, travel incentives have the lowest ratio of cost to incremental sales. So people who win an incentive trip are the most motivated and the most successful people their company has. As such, they deserve to have their efforts rewarded with the most memorable events imaginable. These events need not be grand extravaganzas with abundant budgets. They should be events that provide the guest with the experience that they could not obtain in any other way. Another organization is the Philippine Association of Accredited Tourist Guide Lecturers Incorporated, or PATGLI. The PATGLI, formerly Guides Incorporated Philippines, was organized on May 21, 1986 as a non-stock, non-profit entity. It aims to attain the development among the officers and members of the value of nationalism, honesty, self-reliance, collectivism, and social concern, effective promotion of the country's natural and cultural attractions to domestic and international tourists, upgrading of the competencies of its members and provisions of opportunities for professional growth and development, inculcation of discipline, love for work and commitment among its members, constant maintenance of efficient and highly qualified tour guides, and establishment and maintenance of linkages with tourism business enterprises. At present, the association has a membership of 320 tour guides. So the Philippine Association of Accredited Tourist Guide Lecturers Incorporated is a member of the World Federation of Tour Guides Association and a potent organizational arm of the DOT. It conducts and sponsors seminars and workshops to further educate and enlighten its members on the various aspects of tour guiding. It publishes a journal named as Guides Gazette, which keeps all members posted on the latest trends, activities, and programs of the industry. It also maintains a library where members can get more information through books, journals, and other materials. Another organization is the Philippine Tour Operators Association, or PhilToA. It is an organization of tour operators and allied members actively involved in the advocacy of responsible tourism. Founded in June 12, 1986, it is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a non-stock and non-profit organization. Membership include travel agencies, airlines, hotels, resorts, transportation, companies, handicraft stores, and other tourism-oriented establishments and associations. Its vision is to be the National Tour Operators Association of the Philippines, and its mission is to create or organize different chapters to enhance networking between the government sector and the private sector, particularly in the tourism industry, and to preserve the natural tourist destinations through the promotion of environment consciousness projects. Its goals are to encourage and foster nationwide chapter extensions, to pursue an active role in product development, to strive for international recognition and affiliations, to upgrade industry knowledge through education or workshop, to conduct national information campaign on relevant issues, to develop active membership through participation and involvement in team building activities, to develop and update database, to revise and amend the bylaws to conform to the needs of the times, to encourage sales mission, to address needs and concerns of members in a timely manner, and to endeavor for financial sustainability. So, the PhilToA board is composed of 9 directors, 6 are from the regular membership and 3 from the allied membership. The annual election of the Board of Trustees is to be held on the first week of November of each year. The BOT shall elect from among themselves the officers of the association for a term of 1 year. So, membership of these has 2 categories, namely regular and allied. Another association is the Tourism Educators and Movers Philippines Incorporated. So, it is also known as Team Philippines. It is founded by Mr. Robert Lim Joseph, which envisions to become a leading and productive organization that fosters strong partnership between the industry and the academe that will lead to the rapid growth of the domestic and global tourism and hospitality industry. So its mission is to commit itself to provide the necessary assistance, training, and service to higher education institutions offering tourism and hospitality management programs for the growth and career development of the faculty and students, for them to become professionally competent, intellectually competitive, and socially responsible persons. So, the objective of these are to assist higher education institution members in the enhancement of their relevant curricular offerings, to enrich the knowledge and skills of the students and faculty members by providing trainings, seminars, and other fora related to professional courses, to assist higher education institution members in providing seminars pertaining to value-oriented education and work ethics, to recommend students of tourism and hospitality management to industry partners for job trainings and future job placement, to be the prime mover in the promotion of tourism and hospitality, as well as the positive traits and culture of the Filipinos, and lastly, to serve as a professional consultant in career management and development of students and graduates. So these are all the organizations involved in tourism and hospitality industry. So it is actually up to you in which organization you would like to be a member of, because these organizations have different vision, mission, goals, and objectives. So as long as you agree with its stated VMOs and abide by its rules and regulations. All right, so this ends our discussion for this topic. Any questions and clarifications you may just ask your professor. See you!